So you're able to see the screen also. Now, in the last classes, there was a doubt from one of the students that I was telling that now SAP is suggesting to go with calculation view, no more attribute views, no more analytical views. Every modeling scenario must go with calculation view itself. So you have to go with calculation view. Then there was a question raised as for two issues. One was with temporal joints, right? One was with the temporal joints, right? So then we decided temporal joints was not possible with calculation. We said we have to go with scripting, no, but still we have flexibility of creating temporal joints in calculation view also. If you see, this is a calculation view. This is a calculation view, and I can still go with look at this. In but if you have to go with if you have to go with the temporal join, you must go with star join in the calculation, because when you're creating calculation view, you have an option here, right, with cube with star join. This must be selected when you want to go with temporal joins. And once I have the star join here, see, only when you go with inner join, you have the flexibility of using temporal join properties here. So even in calculation view, you can still go with temporal joins, but to make sure it has to be an inner join, and then can have this temporal joins enabled. And also one more thing is, as I told you, the view properties, it must be enabled as analytical view compatibility mode. Once you enable this, you can build temporal joins in calculation view also. So temporal joins is also possible with two questions were there. One is with referential join and one is with temporal joins. So by enabling this checkbox, you can enable referential join as well as temporal joins both in calculation views. But for temporal joins, you must go with star join, and within the star join, it must be with inner join only. Okay. So you can still go with temporal joins there. Okay, good. Done this. That's the first point I wanted to stress on. Next, time-based calculation. We've been creating normal calculations, but if you see here, while creating calculation, we have an option called subtype as standard or time. Okay, so we got to go with time-based calculation. So basically, when you say time-based calculation, it's like more like a time dimension in BW, or time dimension or time master data, which gives you information about time, date, time, year, month, quarter, all this. But there is a prerequisite. Before you go about building a time-based calculation view, you'll have to generate the time data. So I'll tell you what it is. By default, you'll have a schema called sys underscore bi. You'll have a schema called sys underscore bi. Within this, you'll have tables called m underscore time underscore. You'll have tables here. M underscore time underscore dimension, M underscore time underscore dimension, month, week, and year. And there is one more as M underscore fiscal year, calendar. So all these tables are relevant to time. By default, you'll have a schema called sysbi with these tables. M underscore fiscal calendar, which holds information about fiscal calendar, financial calendar. And normal calendar data will be in these tables, M underscore time underscore dimension. If your granularity is month wise, then M underscore time underscore dimension underscore month will have the data, and the week or year. Granularity is like what level of data do you want. So initially you should see no data in this. I don't know whether there is data in this or not. There is data. Someone has actually created this data here, but we can drop the data in all this. Okay, right click, and you can say delete. You want to delete the object or the data? I want to delete all the rows. Okay. So once that is done, if I go to see the data, there should be no data in this table. So there is no data in this table at all. M underscore time underscore dimension. Now, how do you basically generate data in this table? Is by using generating time data. Now, For this, you've got to see the quick view. I would like to see window, show view, or you can say perspective, reset perspective. You'll get the quick view. Okay. Sorry. I'm in development. So window, show view. I would like to see others. I'll submit. 1 second. Make sure. I think I'm not in the model perspective. Go to model perspective. Then say window, show view. I would like to see this view as a quick view. So in the quick view, you get to see some menus which can be accessed easily. There is a menu called generate time database. There is a menu called generate time data. Now just click on this generate time data. So next. Now there are two things here. What kind of time data do you want to generate? Whether it is Gregorian or fiscal. Gregorian is nothing but calendar. Fiscal is nothing but financial year data. So it's a Gregorian. From which year to which year? Let's say something like 2000 to 2002. Let's say 2002. 2 years of data. And granularity, what kind of granularity do you want? Do you want to go with year wise? If you see here, for each year it creates one record. If you say month wise, for each month it represents one record. So it will be 2 years, so 24 records. So in week is for each week it creates one record. Day for each day it creates one record. Hour, minute, every second you want to record, it maintains. So I'm okay with the day wise. First day of the week is Sunday, it's fine, and we say finish. Now look at this. The job is completed. Once we have performed this, now you should start seeing the data in this time dimension table. M underscore T. See now, you start seeing. You start seeing data from 2000, Jan 1st 2000. For every, because my granularity is day, right? For every day, it creates the time like this. Or a record. Jan 1st 2000. Year is 2000. Quarter is first quarter. Month first month. 52nd week of the previous year of this year. 52nd of 99. And fifth day of the week. And day 1. And day 2, day 3 also. So it basically creates all the time information about this, which year, which quarter, which all this. Now here each row indicates one day, Jan 1st, Jan 2nd, Jan 3rd, because my granularity was day. But if you say granularity as hour, for each hour it creates one record. So depending on the requirement, you can generate the data in this. Okay. The same way if it is if you generate now financially, is there some data in this? If you generate time database in financial years, stuck or something. So this table M underscore fiscal calendar will hold the time data based on which is the calendar, financial calendar. So there is some data in this. Okay, but if you generate time data and then say I'm going with finance, when I say finance, it will ask you from which year and it will ask you about something called variant bus. Where we can see the development quality of production. See, they will tell you with what is the name of the database for development quality. You have named that like that. There's nothing like you can see. 2002. Then you'll have to see. Then you'll have to see. If you remember in SAP, you'll have a concept called variant, financial variant. Like say V1, V2, because financial year sometimes the year could be from Jan to December. Sometimes financial year could be from March to April. Or if it's March to April, they might have some special periods that is indicated by your variant. Okay. So if you specify some schema where it will have all the variant information, now you can get to see all the variants. K1, K2, K1 is what from Jan to December, and then append leading zeros and say finish. Now this will generate your time data for financial year. which is filled in the table m underscore fiscal calendar. Okay, like this you can generate calendar data or normal financial year data, which is in SysBS schema. Now, once that is done, you can go about creating the it's a ZCV time dimension. Now I'm going with what time-based attribute view, time-based calculation view. It's graphical again. I'm using Gregorian calendar and granularity should I want it as date level granularity. Auto create. If you enable auto create, it automatically creates this view by considering the table. Look at this. What table does it take? It takes this table what from the sys bi. It takes this m underscore time underscore dimension with all this. You can just change it if you want. If you don't want, you have date SAP date. SAP date will be YOMMBD. SQL date will be with comma hyphen DD, all this. Formatted date, and this is SAP date, year, quarter, month, week, all this. And then I'm fine, and this activate. That's it. This is how you can create your time based calculation. It says an error. Level hierarchy inconsistency due to okay. There is a hierarchy which is created. It says inconsistency. Top in this. That so once this calculation is created, which is of type normal dimension, it's a type time, but it's a dimension. So this can be reused in other calculations. This is like time-based calculation view. Okay. Next, I wanted to show you on capabilities of extracting semantics. That's a very small option, but still, if you remember, I have this.
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah, yeah.
Do we have a factory calendar setting here wherein we can feed the holiday calendar for a particular
Yeah,
business?
actually, generally what happens, I said there's something called variant, right? You will define that in the variant itself. Okay. So you define your factory calendar, then from factory calendar you define it into the normal calendar, then you do all that in the SAP system, not in the HANA system. We don't have the flexibility. So basically, what you would do if it is if you don't have a SAP system is you would build another table which says holiday list, okay, list of holidays for those years, and then you'll join with this table. Yes, you take this table m underscore time underscore dimension, and you formulate another table which says the date and whether it is holiday or not. Then join this table with that particular date. You have a date, whether it is SAP date or this normal SQL date. Join those dates and get that indicator whether it is holiday or not. Then use that in your calculation. But as it is, you don't have a standard one. Okay. If it is core HANA, you have to go with customized table which indicates a particular day is an holiday or not. If it is SAP, you have that SAP has got the flexibility of general global settings where you can define your factory calendar and the normal calendar. Okay. Now let's say I have this. Now we're getting into extracting semantics. What is other? So where do we find delivery unit info to transport? Don't worry, I'll come to that. Normally, delivery unit information is there in this package. If you deviate me, I'll get to that point. If you said it, there's something on delivery unit here. Here you'll be able to see the delivery unit to which this package has been associated with, and then we can use it for transport. But I can show it now, but one second. Let me finish this. Um, okay. Let's say I have this view, and I would define some semantics saying this is amount with currency, and let's say you might have defined some semantics here. Okay, YIPVAR, yeah, and let's say YIPVAR. We have defined some semantics here. Good. Now what I'm doing is I'm just creating one more calculation view, which basically leverages that. Let's see, we CM something. Here is all fine. Then I take some projection. I'm using this VYIP where into this, and then select all this. Then connect to this aggregation. Then I want the net amount, tax amount, quantity. all these as aggregated columns, and this at output. Now, instead of defining the semantics here again, what I can do, all the I can say right click, extract semantics, and for all the columns, and then say okay. So whatever the semantics we defined in this view will be extracted and see now the semantics is automatically defined, which is pulled in from that view definition. Like this, we have an option called extract semantics, where if semantics already defined for one of the source view, we can extract the semantics defined from that view to this to this calculation. Okay, that is an option I wanted to discuss on. Next, we wanted to go with scripting based calculation. How do we say? So let's say you have all the flexibilities in the graphical, but still there might be some logics which you're not able to implement with graphical. You would like to go with writing freehand scripting, SQL script. Like Oracle, how does it has got PLSQL? HANA will have SQL script. Right? You can go about writing scripting and then build your logic for the HANA models. So that's where we go with calculation with scripting based. Like so I just want to build a simple, very basic one now, where I have this requirement. So filter. So we know we have this schema, and this has got some tables. Simple. I want to build a simple script-based calculation view, which basically reads data from this table and two columns: partner ID and let's say company name. I just want to build a simple calculation with scripting based, which reads partner ID and company name from this table of this scheme. So how do I do this? Let's take the basic one. Create new CV SQL01 script-based calculation view. I say normal standard, but I'm going to go it as script-based calculation and say okay. So now it takes me to definite script-based calculation where we can define this. You see only two nodes. One is script view and semantics. In the script view, you go about writing all the script here, whatever you want as per your requirement. And the semantics is as usual, you basically define your columns and the view properties and hierarchies or input parameters, whatever you want. Okay. Semantics is pretty much same, but only thing is, instead of having all the graphical operators like join, union, rank, projection, all this, you will be seeing only one node which says script view bus. Okay, good. Now the script view, how does it? What is the concept in the script view? Simple. In the script view, by default, you'll have an output. This is an output result table, where underscore out. By default, it is already defined with the syntax as if the var underscore output will be the output table parameter. So you go about writing your logic here, which will read the required information, and then you assign that to this table. This will be your output table. Okay, good. Now let me write this way. Select what you want to select. Partner ID. Then you want to go with company name from what? From this table. From where? From your business part. That's it, and end with a semicolon, right? Good. That's it. That was my requirement. So I'm just selecting partner ID and company name from this table and assigning it to what? Var underscore out, which is a result table. You can understand like a temp table, result table. Okay? And whatever you assign it to var underscore out, that will be projected as the output of your view. That will be, or whatever you assign it to this temporary table var underscore out, it will be projected as if your result table was. Okay, good. Now, since you are assigning partner ID and company name to this var underscore out, we must declare this var underscore out is a generic table name, but we must declare this var underscore out also with these two columns, because since we are going to feed these two columns into this table must be defined with these two columns with the sufficient data types. So that is done here. Now you see there's some output columns here. Now what are the columns you define it here? That will be the structure for this table var underscore out. whatever the columns you define in this folder columns here, that will be the structure of this table where underscore output. Now right click, how do I create those columns? So I can manually go about saying I want a column like partner ID with this data type, second column I want so and so so and so, I can do that. So I can say I want a column like partner ID, then it's something like integer, say something like say 12 characters length. Then I want company name. Then I want varchar of 200. I can do this way. I can go about maintaining column names manually here. But there's another option of importing the column definitions. Add columns from. You're already reading from some table, right? I know the columns been defined in some table. HANA dot. So there's a table already MD. So I can import the column definition, which is n varchar 10, or you can define it normally n varchar 80. You can define by looking at the definition. You can define it manually also. It's finished. So these two columns comes in. So now I have a table called, I have a result table var underscore out with the definition of these two columns, which is defined as like temporary table defined with two columns, partner ID and company name. And partner ID is defined, partner ID is getting filled into this partner ID column in this, company column name is getting filled into this and reading from this table. That's it. And then you propose what you want. Okay. Are we using any measures here? No, right? So obviously the data category should not be key, it should be blank. Blank means what? It allows you to define a view without key figures also, without measures also. It's accurate. That's it done, and I would say show the content. That's it. This is the main concept of script-based calculation. Script-based calculation. See, just showing me partner ID and company name. Let's say for the same, let's say in the output table, for some reason, uh, I never had this to you. Let's say I never had this as partner ID. For some reason, I just typed in as partner. So the column name is partner. So it cannot. So now when you say partner ID, but the var underscore output has a column called partner. How does system know the value of this partner ID must be feeding into this column partner? So then we would control this by using alias as mm, partner. Then obviously to understand this partner ID value will be filled into this column partner, which is in this var underscore out, and then gets it out. So when the column names are different from the var underscore output and what you're reading, then you got to use alias as. So now we get this. Okay, what's done? It gets partner ID because partner, right? Could have, see now you see it as partner. Okay. Then like this you can use alias also. Good. Apart from this, let's say I want to use input parameters in this. Instead of reading everything, now what I want is I just have a requirement like this. When it is showing company name and all this, I just want my user to see only for specific region or something. Say, uh, I don't have that, but I have legal form, right? I want to see where customers are based on input. I just want to see only for AG quick filter. So I want to see only these partners and these names SAP Telecoms only for AG. So based on input I want. So we can also leverage the concept of same input parameters, variables, everything here. I'm going with input parameter. Let me create it here. Create input parameter. I'll say IP underscore legal. I can go with parameter type column means what? I'll have to specify the value help of this view something. But I don't want. I just want a direct input where you just see text box and I'll just set 10 something. So that now I'll have to use this IP legal legal. Okay. Now I can use this parameter in this now. I'll say, how do we use the parameter now? So instead of finishing the select here, I'll say where, uh, legal form, because the column name, just make sure in this table the column name is legal form. Okay, so where legal form equal to what is the parameter name? IP underscore, it is case sensitive bus. Okay, legal. So since it is an input parameter, you have to prefix with colon here. Legal form. Okay, good. You can put this straight up, but does not have any special grades. I'm okay, but I can still enclose that with double quotes to indicate that it's a column of the table. So we'll prefix this input parameter saying colon. The just parameter name with it, it indicates that it is a string. So when I say colon input parameter, the value of this parameter must be placed here. So whatever you pass in, it takes in. So now when I run this view, so I get an input parameter. Now I give it as AG and run this out and getting this. So it is obviously doing filtering. Like this, you can also use input parameters in defining your script-based calculation. See anything once you have the flexibility of writing scripting, there is no limitation on what you can achieve. So you can write any complex logics. You can implement any complex logic you want. And more apart from that, what SAP has done is to make some concepts more to improve the performance of the scripting based. They've given something called CE functions, calculation engine functions like CE join, CE union, CE column. So what I've done is I placed that into the videos what I've given you. If you and how many of you are going through, when you go to this academy here, when you log in, so when you go for the courses, when I say view course, so I've given this functions right now. If I go with this, and this is 7.1, which should have those functions, I think, or I have this is not the one. There's something on HANA SQL functions. So when you look at this video, it explains about different functions, what is available in SQL. As part of that, I've clearly explained about all the CE functions first. Okay? So I want to make sure you have that. This is about Windows functions. Then I think after this Windows function, it must start with CE functions. Or there might be this video. Mm, just want to make sure. Hmm. Yeah, look at this. I tab. I think I would have gone here. Instead of writing that, I would have replaced that with the. And there is some video here. It might be this video. But I'll let you know. There is a video which will explain you about all the. See, this is about all the SQL functions. Might be some video among these sections. There is something which explains you about all the C functions first, which you can leverage those C functions or SQL functions, entire scripting concept into this, and then you can start writing your script based calculations. Okay. So the C function is not available in this video. Let me check. If not, I'll add that. Okay, not a problem. Okay. This is about scripting based calculation. Yeah. Next, the concept is about migration. Say, for example, I have built a script based calculation view, which is y, this one, y, this one, right? Can I use script based calculation view into graphical bus? Now, let's say right click and I'll say create something YCV graphical. Now, can I use the SQL view into this? ಇದು ಮುಂದೆನಾ? It the direct. Mm. So what I should do is, if I have to use this SQL-based calculation here, first I must convert this SQL-based calculation view into graphical. Okay, then we can start reusing that into another calculation views. So the point is, how do I convert this graphical-based calculation view into, sorry, SQL-based calculation view into scripting-based calculation view into graphical bus. Okay. So how do I do? Just close this out. Window, open with quick view. Two options. There is option called migrate here. Within the quick view, there is option called migrate. I can leverage this option. And there's option called, look at this. Don't worry on the top first one. Script-based calculation view to graphical views. This is one option. Or within the script-based calculation view, I have an option called, I have an option here. If you go to the last function here, here, there's something called migrate. Okay. So I can also leverage this option as migrate script-based calculation. Two ways I can do. What I would prefer doing this. Anyway, it's fine. So I'll say migrate. I would like to migrate the script-based calculation view to graphical view. Fine. So what is my script-based calculation view? I have YCVSQL. You can all have an option as copy and migrate also. Then say migrate and say finish. Once that is done, if I go to this, look at this. Once that is done, you see this YCVSQL CO01. Now it is more like, do you see this as graphical or do you see that as scripting based? It becomes, when I open this YCVSQL01, it becomes a graphical. But only thing is, when I try to activate this, it's not activated. But if I try to activate it manually, I have a problem. So I see this error, which says model inconsistency. This it says about table function. See, what it does is, with all the scripting what you've done, it basically creates a table function, and we are not able to activate the table function here because that is not an object for artifact for modeling environment. So what we have to do is go to the perspective HANA development. Okay, this is your go to repositories, expand your HANA system, default, expand, go to your package where you basically did that. It was cubex, right? Cubex modeling, and expand, and you see there's something called table function here. Just double click on this. See, with all the scripting, what you written, like select partner as partner with IP, legal, all this, it creates a table function automatically. Okay, and just activate this table function. Now, once you activate the table function, I can go back to modeler perspective, normal modeler perspective. Now I can activate this view. So once you migrate, it actually converts the complete code into a table function. So you got to go to the HANA development, activate the table function, which is in the package, then come back to modeling and then activate your calculation. See, now it is activated. Now I can just run that. It acts like same, but you get to see it as AG, and then you get to see this. Now I can start, and now I can start leveraging this graphical calculation view into other calculation views as a dimension or another view. So like this, we can also migrate the script-based calculation view to graphical views. Okay, that's one. Next, I wanted to get in with something called okay, and one more point we were seeing here. I was telling you, SAP is now supports you for everything as calculation view only. So, for example, if your project is very old and you actually created a analytical view or attribute views, so there's an analytical view which is actually using nothing. So now I've got analytical view which was created in the older version. So now I want to make it as a calculation view itself. Then I can still use this migrate option. Go to quick view option. Then I can use this migrate option, where this time my option is what, convert my attribute or analytical views to calculation. Yes. Where is this? This one, ANREF join, which is an analytical view. I would like to convert that to calculation views. So we can use this migration option not only for migrating scripting based calculation view to graphical, but also migrate your attribute view and analytical view to calculation views. Models, go with referential join, add this, and then say activate objects after migration, and then say finish. Now if you see, if you don't see any analytical view, straight away you see it as y. What was it? YAN. Sorry, ZANREF join. This was the analytical view which was migrated as calculation. But for all those which is get migrated, so because it has to execute as per the logic of OLAP engine, right? What it does is, you remember it enables this option analytical view compatible to both. So even though it is calculation, it executes with the OLAP engine. Like this, you can migrate your analytical view or attribute view to calculation view also with the migration option. Good. Next, we are trying to focus. See, if you go with this, you have an option of creating something called analytical privileges, which is like more like it gets you to it is more like an administrator topic, but still we need to understand how does that work. Okay, so by using analytical privileges, we can control the data which to be viewed by the users as a point of security, so like row level security. Say for example, I have a view which actually gives data of multiple regions. So I would like to control an user to see this view, but only for specific regions. Then I can go with what? Analytical privileges. When you want to control, perform a row level security, say I have a view which is actually giving data for AMR, Asia Pacific, Europe, Africa. So I've got 4 different users who needs to access only one particular region. Then what I can do, I can leverage here. I can leverage analytical privileges, build 4 analytical privileges, one which will control the access only for North America, one for Europe, one for Asia Pacific, and one for Africa. Then assign these privileges to the respective users so that they can view only that particular region alone database. Okay, so how do I do that? So let's to demonstrate, I'm just using this view. Does it have any? Okay, let me take this view which is already created. It has got the region. Why it is giving only MU? Any input parameter? Let me see. No, no, it has got all the four regions, but fine. It has got all the four regions. Now what I want to do is, I want to do this way. I'll take this view YIPVAR. So uh, I would like to make sure there is a user who will have access only to this view, and within that view you must have access to say AMR, America bus. Okay, so see this distinct and region. So only for AMER data you must have access to. Okay, or I can go with Asia Pacific data. Okay. Now let's see how do I do this. Okay. First, let's create an analytical privilege. It's analytical privilege. After converting analytical view to calculation view, will it get executed and which engine? If you don't enable the checkbox compatible to mode, it will execute with calculation view. If you enable the checkbox, it goes with overlap engine. Name. So I'll say okay. Before I do this, first you should make sure which are the view you're working on. To control the with privileges, you should make sure go to semantic properties. So there's some apply privileges, classic. I would like to or go with what SQL analytical privileges. I would like to have SQL analytical privileges built on top of this. Okay, it is enabled for that. Or I can go with this and say new. Now I can go with privilege. So I said this view is enabled for SQL privileges push. No predicate status statement. Uh, just AP. I'll say cubex01. That's my privilege name. I'm still going with classic, or I'm going with what SQL analytical privileges. It's fine. I'm just creating a new one. I want the okay. First, don't worry about now here. Just say finish. Okay. Just get to that. So this is where I can basically see the name of the privilege. Label is fine. It's SQL analytical privileges. Now secure restrictions apply to all the models in the listed below. So here, okay, you'd like to restrict him for particular region, but I want this restriction to be applied on which view it is. So you can say add. What was it? Y C V. Was it Y I P? This one, right? Y I P where this was view on which I want the restriction to be applied for. Okay, Y I P where defines the privilege validity bus. Okay, and now do you think this is valid from what? Equal to, or I can say greater than from which date? So I'll just take some date from 2013. This is valid, okay, and I'm not giving any two, so it is valid from there completely. What are the privilege I'm creating? It is going to be valid from this date, okay, and it tells on which attribute are you going to control this. Say what is attribute was region. Region is a column on which I'm going to build control the authorizations. Is it on the normal fixed value or any hierarchy node? Okay, don't worry this. I want a fixed value where value is equal to what? AM. Okay, I can say APJ, Asia Pacific, and then activate. So with this, I've controlled saying I would like to have this privilege to be playing on this view and valid from this date and on this column where for this column the value should be APJ. This is the privilege I created first. Okay. So just to test this privilege, what I want, and I'm going with creating a new user. Okay. So user only create Gelent. I'm going with the system. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry of practicing this. Just see how it works. That's so I'm getting in this. I'm just creating some new user. I'm creating user called Cubex. Mm, then I'll give him all the required authorizations, whatever I need. So first of all, in the object privilege, the minimum views, because you'll always be needing this sys. I was telling you, if he's got some time or main views or main schemas or this I told you, you must have by default have access to this. Only about this schema you should be able to have execute and select. Select is fine for both. I'll say means you can execute and you can do select. Okay, okay, fine. Then is there any other? Because if you look at my view was built on the tables using it from there. There are some scenarios where I'm using it from cubic schema, so I want to give him access to cubics also. Cubics, cube, cubic schema. So for select and execute. Okay, fine, fine. Then I go on. You remember it was also using tables from a schema called SAP underscore HANA underscore demo. Because my view was using from there. So again execute and select. Fine. Then I need to give him access to the packages. Now I go to package privileges. For which packages you'll have access to. First thing is I need to give the root. Okay. One second. And also need to give him access to this procedure repository rest. Then only can be able to execute the repository. Okay. He'll be able to access the package. And which package I should give him? Remove cubex. What was the view we had? No, cubex. Package name in the first. My view has gotten which package? Mine is cubex modeling. So search for that package. Package search will take some time. Mine is I can go explicitly inside models or enter package is fine. I'm okay. And you can read um, whether there's all these options on this package. Okay, I'm okay with this and say activate. Here it is duplicate schema name. Why duplicate schema? Line 1 of 13. Where is it? Oh, I think there is already user with cubex boss. So I'll say cubex double one. Then my user is created. Now let me connect to the system with that user boss. Okay. Same system, add system with different user. So this time the user is cubex 11. Password. First time when I log in, it asks for the change of the password. Has been changed. This is my user, this new user. Yeah. Now let me go to the content. Here in content, certainly. Cubex modeling, models, calculation. Where data converted actually. You should not be able to see the data. Okay, month user. Why? Yeah, select this. Open data preview. Sorry. Still, I'm not okay. First, let's see the data. I is able to see. It says no insufficient privilege to execute this view. Let me because it does not. There is a privilege on it. It does not have it. So I forgot this. So the analytical privilege, I must give that privilege, right? We just created Z A P this. So this user will have access to this privilege also, so that now he can be able to access it. Now let's just to refresh that. Let's go to the package PQ models calculation view YIP. Now let's see this data. Now I'm able to see the data, but what data I'm able to see if I go to right? అన్నీ ఉన్నాయి. Why Asia Pacific, Europe? Okay. I think we created this privilege with Asia Pacific only was here. Fine. Yeah, this was with Asia Pacific. That's why when he gets in, he is able to see this view for Asia Pacific only. But when he's trying to see data for others, it does not have any permissions on this. Okay? So we have got access only to this view, which is giving them for Asia Pacific. Like this, we can create analytical privileges concept where you'll have restricted row level security bus. I can also create another user, another privilege, which will have access to Europe and then assign it to a different user. This way, you can control the access of the data at the row level also. Okay. And one more thing here, if you see, what are the analytical privilege we have? Instead of saying this one, instead of fixing a value, I can also make this value dynamic by using stored procedure also. Okay. Instead of saying fix, authorizations later, but okay. This is one fine. Like this, we can create analytical privileges and control the authorizations. And there's a flexibility. Sometimes we'll have a requirement of dynamic row level security. And say, suppose I've got 10 users, I've got 10 different regions. Based on the user, I must give access to different regions. In that case, instead of creating 10 analytical privileges and giving these privileges to 10 different users, we can create an analytical privilege which is dynamic, okay, where I can create a analytical privilege which will give based on the procedure. So it takes the input user, based on the input user, it takes the region and gives it. Like this, I can achieve this kind of record with single analytical privilege. See, how do I do this? What I can do is I'm just trying to create a procedure. No, I'm just saying. So the table now I'm just creating a table with two columns, user and country. Okay. And then I'm just inserting three things. For us, it is cubex 11, right? So for you, it's a region. For cubex 11, I must give it as APJ or AMER. AMER. So now this time it will be AMER. Now for HANA user, it will be APJ. For a different user, let's say EMEA. Okay. Like this, I can maintain entries in the table, which user will have access to which region. What it is doing. not take too large. Large. Then length అదేనమ్మప్ప. Let me drop this table. Let me set this as region. Let me create this table. Then I'm inserting these 3 records. So for our user QX11, I give it as AMER now this time. So if I go through the select, I'll see those 3 records. For QX11, it is AMER. Fine. Okay. Now I'm creating a procedure which will use this table out. Okay. I'm just saying, don't worry this. I'm just saying create procedure. Out I tab, let me temporary table. SQL script which says select instead of country, it will be what? Select region from this table where user equal to session user. Depending on the user who logs in, it reads the table, then gives me out the region. I can push this into the table. So this is my procedure. Here this table type is going to be region. Country different from TT country, region is varchar 4.
Varchar should be 4.
Yeah. Different from attribute name region. Select region, region. Think QX TT country. First, let me create this out. Cannot duplicate. So there is a table type which is already created. Procedures and the table type. So let me create a table type with this region. Now I'll create this procedure. Done most. Now I'll grant. Now we need to grant this procedure access to sysrepo. Okay. Now I'll use procedure. What is procedure name? To refresh, it will be fill country AUTH99. So this is my procedure. So now I'll go to my HANA models, create an analytical privilege. ZAP cubex 002 something. Okay. Then next, I can choose this as to play on which view. From here it's YIP. Choose from here. See, that's how the view comes in here. I can add the validity. Anything greater than or equal to some date on. Okay. Which field? Again, I say region. But this time,
Select the option in dynamic radio button, sir.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now say procedure. Catalog procedure here for me, and the name of that is fill. Procedure with only one output parameter supported. Okay, fine, done. Okay, now I've activated this. Now for my user, cubex11, I'll go to change this user with the new privilege, new analytical privilege. Cubex11. So So I remove this, add privilege. This time I'm going to use second privilege, which is with the procedure. Even my user, to be on the safer side, I'm going to give access to that procedure bus. Fill. I'm going to give permissions to this user so that he can execute this procedure. Done. So based on the session user, now let me just log out from this cubex 11, login, just to refresh this authorizations. Now if it goes to the content, our content is cubex. Cubex models, calculation view, via IPv. Now if we try to see, as per the procedure, it has to show me AMR, right? Could not open all relevant and accessing. Invalid SQL AP definition. Insufficient privileges. Could not obtain. If given authorizations to sysrepo also. Could not obtain all relevant analytical privileges for user creation accessing view sysbic cubex modeling dot model. Says there is an exception. Cubex 11. Okay, first let me make sure this is able to run this. Is he able to execute this procedure? Call cubex dot qbx dot. Is able to call the procedure when he is wrong number of types of that. So, so he's able to get this. He's able to run this procedure, and because I've logged in with cubex 11, I'm seeing that it is resulting me AM here, which is correct. So he's able to run this. Then what else is a problem? Okay, cubex 11. What's this BI? This big is got HANA demo cubex 11 its own schema. Is able to execute this also. Privilege was 002 itself, right? Package is fine. You've got access to the package. One sec. Let me just check this out. Because in real time we don't do this, but still I just want you to have a feel of that, how the row level security has been done. See now cubex level is able to run the procedure, is able to get that result AMER. Is that AMER getting into that is what the point. Only cubex. is in QX modeling. Is there some problem here? Procedure with only one output parameter. I have this procedure with only one output parameter. So I'll find here. I don't think there's an error. Otherwise, it does not show you in the procedure. Who are the users? Cubex 11 is the user who is assigned to him. I'll find. Let me just try once again. Last, just refresh it and then PQ. Sorry. I got this. This is playing, right? Even the privilege 001 is also playing. That is stopping that. Okay, one second. I must delete this 001, right? This is also playing and stopping you from that. So now it should be fine. Let me just say refresh. Yes, it is actually playing both the privileges. One is saying Asia Pacific, one is saying the procedure, so it is throwing that error. Now we should start getting this one. Open data preview. No, but invalid SQL AP definitions. I'm not sure, but I'll check this out. So like this, you can by using analytical privileges, you can control the row level security, data level security, and you can control it saying the user will have access to only these views, and within that view, which part of data can be accessed. This is you can make this is a dynamic concept. We can make it dynamic by using this stored procedures like this. Yeah? So this is about pretty much on modeling with privileges. So tomorrow, I think you have to. I think I don't know how many of you are going through videos. From tomorrow, we're getting into next topic about data provisioning bus, where we get on to smart data access, SLT, and all those stuff. How do we see? We started modeling assuming that the data in this table is already present. But now we have to look at how the schema has been formed, how the tables has been filled with the data, how the provisioning was done, is what the next topic we want to look at. Okay, data provisioning is what next topic. So if you have any doubts, you can just come up with all the doubts in model.
Sir, that demo files, please, can you provide, sir?
Which means the notepad files you want?
Yes, sir. That Excel sheet files, sir, to upload into my system for practicing purpose. Tables like a BP.
If you remember, in the first video or second video I showed you.
No, sir, I don't have files.
I'll share these files. You remember? Do you remember about this import use Cubex HANA scheme, HANA demo schema? You remember this?
Yes, I remember.
So I'll share this so that you know how to import by looking at that video. Once you import, you should be able to have that Cubex schema and HANA demo schema, and also some sample views also for you. Okay, I'm going to send it.
Sure, sir. Please can you send it?
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, one question.
Yeah.
In calculation view, there is an option called cross client and session client.
Yeah.
What is that option?
Yeah. In the calculation, he's saying he's got. For tomorrow, we'll go with all the questions, but for now, it's okay. You're asking for a cross client and session client, right? Generally, what happens when you look at, I'll show you. You may not find it here. Let me show you exact one. Remove this completely. Remove this completely. Let me take another system, ECC 10000. I want to create new system connection. 00. This is S4 HANA. Okay. ECC system. Mm, Now I have some schema like this, and I have a table. Let's say I just want looking at some table called VBAC. Okay, there is a table called VBAC in this. Okay, now I would like to see the data in this table. There is a table like this. Now let's go to district. There is a field called mandate. Only 400. Okay. See, there is some field called mandate, which is something called client. Normally, your S4HANA system is client independent. So whenever I see some table with the client mandate, what we can do, we can have information about multiple clients. Say you might have some data set saying 400, you might have some data set saying 500, you might have some data set 600. But whenever I generally log in to SAP, you log into with some client. For example, if I log into SAP from the front end, if I log in, I think there is only one client active, but it says 400. But some people might log into, you might be giving multiple clients like this. Some people might log into 500 and they insert some data. When they do that, when you see the table here, the table will have information for both the clients, 400 as well as 500. So now what I want is when we create a calculation view by using this table. So what I want, when I log in with 400, I must see only 400 data only in the view. When I log in with 500, I must see only 500 data only. Then I'll go with what session client. Depending on the session, when I connect to the system, it forms a session. For that session, what is my client number 400 or 500? If it is 400, it will show data only for 400. If I say session client is 500, then when I log in and look at the view data, it will show me data of 500. If I say cross client, it will show data of both 400, all the client data was. So whenever you connect to a system, it forms a session, and the session will be set with session variable as client, which is nothing but the number, mandate number. If it's a session client, whichever the session you log in, you get to see information only for that session client only. If it's a cross client, you get to see information irrespective of the client you log in, you get to see data for all the clients. That is session client and cross client. Okay. Need your help in test system made changes to existing calculations, throwing below warning, editing objects under this package with different source system. Editing objects under package with different source system is not recommended since there might be a override by next import. Yeah, good. See, it is simple, boss. Someone has put a message saying this way: need your help, and so tomorrow we'll keep it open for some questions if required. Edit. Hmm. See, there's a question saying in the test system I made some changes to the existing calculation. It's showing below warning editing objects under so and so is not required since they might be overwritten. See, because by using delivery unit, let's say we develop the objects in development environment, then you move it to quality, then you move it to production. So what we do is we basically develop the objects in development and take the delivery unit and transport the delivery unit to quality, then transport the same delivery unit to production. Now once it is done in the test system, now you have some modeling views which have been transported from development. But what you're trying to do, you're trying to do changes here in the quality, right? Here you're trying to do some changes in the quality. Now system will say, even if you do changes
For
in the
me, it is
quality, one second. Even if you do
for me
changes in the
for me.
quality, the next transport which is going to come from development will override those changes. That's what it is telling you. Yeah. Now tell me what it is. Yeah.
Sir, for me, it is development and test system both are same
Means?
for HANA.
Yeah. See,
There is no separate development system.
actually, see, HANA server is one, but is a tenant database is different, or are you using different databases or different instance? That might be different. So you should treat both of them as separate instances only. So when I do changes in this quality box, it is throwing error saying now the changes will be applied. But tomorrow when the new transports happen again from development, development is going to override those changes. Okay, that's only information for you.
Right. So I need to move these changes now to production, sir, from quality to production.
No, you have to do changes in
So,
development, transport that to quality, and then again import that in production. You have to do that. Because if you don't do
but
changes now, Tomorrow, if someone do changes in development and re-transport again, that is going to override those changes in the quality. That's the problem. Okay.
But I think here all we have is only test and production system, sir.
Yeah. Test is nothing but your quality system. See, you will get this kind of message whenever you're editing a package which is imported. Means, for example, if you see this package here, content, you see some kind of symbol like this, which tells you that those have been imported. For example, you'll see there is a package called SAP. So whenever you see the package imported, that cannot be made changes. And one more thing is, there is also user options also in the security. Just now I was controlling something on the package, right? If you remember, when the package privileges also, see, privileges for native packages means these are the options for the packages which are created within the system. If you go for this one, packages for imported, privileges for import, if there is a package which has been imported, what privileges do I have on that? So you need to have the respective privileges even for the imported packages, then you can edit that. That is also an option. Okay. One thing is whenever you re-importing it again, it will lose changes. So can you edit the packages which are imported? If you have this, you'll be able to do if you have these privileges for imported packages. Okay, boss. That is another option. Okay, boss. We'll stop it here. And tomorrow, if you have any doubts, we'll spend some time on the doubts, and then we'll be getting on to, sir, one question. I have created overlap connection in my CMC for the build system, but I see that this overlap connection in Lumira 2.0. Any, I cannot see the overlap connection in Lumira 2.0. Any issue to resolve this? You created a overlap connection. Yeah, see, I think that might be something to do with reload. Where you don't see, you just log out of the Lumira discovery, then log in, and then and when you go to the source connection, there's an option called reload connection. Just click on that reload, and then you should be able to see that connection. Okay, fine. Okay, okay, sir. Fine. Thank you.